tell you I'm not near the elegant speaker that Skip is, and I appreciate the lesson on the 14th Amendment. Just to give you a little background for my qualifications, I always think, am I qualified to really speak before a group of these people that I'm not sure I'm even speaking in front of? And I come here and I see people here, and I will tell you, I will commend you also. I witnessed Tim on my school campus talking to young students in our high school and asking them, would you be interested in starting a young Republican committee on your campus? Correct.
Good job.
I will tell you that in our school system, we have had students that have gone to work and still continue to be working in Washington, D.C. With Lou Gomert. I don't know if you've ever heard of Bryce Bender. You may have or may not. I don't know if y'all have. He's in Washington, D.C. now, but he came from our school district that is a young Republican. That has been his career. He went to Texas A&M. And there you go. All that good stuff. So I just want to thank you for that. And just to tag on, it is true. I do know that you are reaching out, and especially to kids who need to be involved in the politics of our schools. So am I still really qualified? I don't know because of my background. Let's see, what else would I tell you? I will tell you that I was born on a presidential election day. Does that help? But the problem was a Democrat was elected. To give you a hint, it will tell my age if you know your history. The doctor asked, oh, I wish. The doctor asked my parents, are you going to name her Lindy or Barry? So, if that helps. There you go, 1964. That just gave away my age. So does that help? And I will tell you that I consider myself to be a very conservative Republican. I vote as a very conservative Republican, always have, always will. This is my party. This is who I support. One of the main reasons for me, and you touched on it a while ago, has to do with, a lot of the moral beliefs that I hold fast to, and I'm just a strong, there are a lot of political and other things that I'm real strong to those moral beliefs, and that takes precedence to me. So I'm very much a very conservative Republican, so I think at least for those reasons I can at least be qualified. Other than that, I was an elementary teacher, and so that's kind of if you think I'm not a very gifted speaker, it's because I'm just an elementary teacher. I'm just used to that, so correct? I mean, these people have heard me a long time. They've heard me speak, and they know I'm not a great speaker. So I'm thinking, I'm going to come from the elementary teacher's background. I'll try to get you to interact with me maybe a little bit to get this point, so maybe you won't be too bored. He said, Skip said, I said, now what do you want me to speak on? And he said, well, talk about the challenges in education. Just, educate them about that maybe, some of the challenges that you have. And he kind of gave me a list. I'm going to read it to you. And he said, school finance. Talk about the less high-stakes testing. Yay! I'll go there. Local control. Like, for example, the school start days. I can talk about that. Vouchers. My note here says, don't go there. Wrong group. Remember, I'm going to stick to the morals with it. Okay. Expansion of pre-K. And then I realized he said, 20 minutes, not 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I thought, okay, what can I do in 20 minutes? Because this is pretty broad topics here for me, right? So I thought, I'll give them a history lesson. All right? To get to the challenges. You see how quickly I can give you a history lesson, okay? So I got to get my cheat sheets to see how quickly. Oh, see, I've already lost my cheat notes here. All right, so before I give you the history tell you the challenges today, I'm going to talk real quick about history, and I want you to think about where you were in public schools in this history. And if I told you my age, right? You know my age. So if you're willing to raise your hand, if that was part of your history, we'll kind of get an idea of what education was like during your time period, okay? So I'm going to kind of just back it up a little bit. All right, 1960s and 70s. All right, who didn't even fall in that range? The young ones are raising their hand. No. All right, in the 1960s and 70s, these were classrooms without walls. They abolished rules and requirements. There was cross-discipline certifications back then. Students designed courses kind of for what met their needs. There was locally controlled graduation requirements and grades and tests. Okay? Very loose. Okay? All right. What about, I'm going to kind of skip from the 1960s and 70s to 1983. Who knows what came out in 1983? A Nation at... Hey, he's getting good. A Nation at Risk. A report came out, A Nation at Risk. Sputnik, all that good stuff came out, A Nation at Risk. All right, due to the 60s and 70s reform, we had no state curriculum, no standard graduation requirements. There was generic teacher preparation programs and no standards for textbooks. Okay, that was 1983. Texas solutions to that in the 1980s. That's when the Texas Blue Ribbon Committee came out. You've heard of Blue Ribbon schools? Schools get that award now, the Blue Ribbons. They're still here. This is what they did, or some of the things that came into place. The essential elements were born. That is what was required for teachers to teach in the classrooms. So teachers in second grade were required to teach the essential elements. They're not Common Core, but the essential elements, okay? I taught the essential elements. Although I graduated in 83, I also taught later in the 80s, and I taught from the essential elements. TCAT. Anyone in here an educator? TCAT was the Texas Teachers Exam that they had to pass to be able to teach. There were state assessments for students that came into place then. You had to start taking a state assessment during the 80s. And school accountability came into place. Okay, so you first started seeing that because of the Nation at Risk. Okay, you know, we cannot let the Russians beat us. We're not going to let that happen. Okay, all right. Now, I'm going to just give you a little history of that criterion exam. That's when the testing started. Raise your hand if you took these tests. I'm going to just give you the acronyms. TABS. That was me. I took TABS in school. You may not remember. You tried to put it out of your mind, possibly. Teams. I was a teacher in the 80s, late 80s, and I gave the Teams test. So Teams. TOS was another one. You probably took a TOS test. You didn't even take that. TAX. You probably took the tax test. You were homeschooled. You would have taken the tax test. Anyone had children that took the tax test? Now they take the STAR test. So those are all Texas accountability state assessments. That's for accountability purposes. Okay, those are criterion exams to make sure that Texas is on target in preparing our kids so that we're not dropping behind. All right, in the 1990s, the age of accountability really became strong, okay? And that was, you know, about that time we're looking at No Child Left Behind. Those types of things are coming in. This is where we're going to be measured school success based on test scores, okay? And they're testing in the 4 subject areas, the main core areas: language arts, science, social studies, and math. And every child is tested every year from 3rd grade up. And schools began to be rated. There were 4 rating criteria: exemplary, recognized, acceptable, you got it, and then low performing or unacceptable. Okay, unacceptable. All right, so that's kind of all. See that sound familiar? If you're away from education, it's going to about lead to where we are today. I'm trying to get through history pretty quick. All right, so I'm going to get right down to today.